Hello, everyone. This is Dawn with Pittsburgh Brides. Today, I have one of the city's best known photographers
Thanks.
for her artistic style. Her name is Anastasia Steinman.
Hi, it's so nice to meet all the Pittsburgh Brides community out there.
So nice to have you. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
being with us today. So the point of these podcasts is so that you can get to know the pro. So I want to hear a little bit about you, your history, what got you started. Did you go to school for photography?
I actually did not. I have a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing, but photography had always been a passion. And whenever my husband and I graduated with our masters, there was a hiring freeze at all the local universities. And so we need to find something else to do. Teaching English wasn't an option at the time, and we both had a passion for photography. And so we decided to dive in, and we started off taking fine art photos, so getting, landscapes, architecture photography, and selling those at art shows. And we actually had another wedding photographer approach us about helping him to edit his work. And we kind of went on and looked at his website and decided that this was something that we could do and that it would be a lot of fun to take the fine art photography side of what we had been doing and incorporate that into weddings. And so we actually started off having two of our friends. We rented a wedding dress and a tuxedo, and we took them out on the town and did a bunch of sample photos and started advertising, and we ended up getting some weddings booked. And, we started off small and it took off, and it just became a full-time business, and we loved every second of it. We just adoring weddings and experiencing all the love and excitement. And so we've been doing it ever since.
And when did that start?
So the fine art company started in about 2005. We started doing weddings in 2007. So it's been a little while now.
Wow. You're only a couple years away from 20 years.
I know.
Right?
I don't feel old enough to have a business for 20 years.
But that speaks volumes for you as a talent, and you don't do anything else. So you just do photography.
Yeah.
Laurel Mountain Photography is your full-time business.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, because I know that a lot of photographers, they maybe do have a 9-to-5 job, and then they're doing photography on the weekends. And sometimes that can be a little bit of strain, as opposed to someone, this is their full passion. This is all they do.
Yep. So I dedicate, all my time to it. So one of the nice things about that is it leads to a little bit quicker turnaround times whenever it comes to delivering galleries and proofs to our clients. So having this be my full-time job, I am behind my computer throughout the week and editing and making sure everything gets done and posted on time.
And as far as communication with the client too, you're available to them.
Yes, I'm
to respond. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're in a meeting or, you're on a job site and you can't respond.
I have a lot of flexibility when it comes to especially setting up meetings and working around client schedules and everything, which makes it really nice.
I think that's so important. And I think that there needs to be more daylight on that for the couples when they're shopping, because, as you and I have had this conversation before, they're inspired by Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest and places like that. They pretty much have an idea that they like your style, but it's about who you're hiring for that day.
Yes, most definitely.
It's so important because, let's face it, there's a lot of photographers in the city of Pittsburgh.
There are a ton.
A lot of there's a lot of talents. I don't want to.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to say that there's
a lot
not
of really talented photographers.
There's a lot, and you're way up there in my opinion. Like, you are every time I see one of your pictures from Laurel Mountain, I'm like, it has the wow factor.
Oh, thank you.
It's one of those that it makes you take pause and step back. It's something that you would see on a magazine cover, a bridal magazine or something of that sort. I've been a fan of yours for many, many years.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm so glad that you have been with our community as long as you have, because, it's such a great asset that I can offer this to our brides and say, you have a photographer almost in business 20 years, full time. This is all she does. And she makes a commitment to her couples that they're her priority. They're her business.
Most definitely.
getting those galleries turned around and the communication. And tell me a little bit about the experience. If I'm the mother of the bride and I want to book you for my daughter's wedding, what's that look like? What do we go through?
So typically the first thing, most couples or, parents or anything normally reach out through the website contact form. Once I receive that, I normally just send a, kind of nice to meet you email and just go over the details and then ask about setting up a time where we can chat and discuss more of the wedding plans and also see, if we connect, if our chemistry is good. So normally at that point, we either set up a phone call or a Zoom meeting or to meet in person. And it's really, I feel like so much of wedding photography, a lot of it has to do with, yes, style and professionalism, but a lot of it has to do with how you mesh with the couple.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't realize like your wedding photographer is who you spend pretty much the most time with on the wedding day. Like we are there through the getting ready process. Yeah. We are there helping to, get you in your gown, get you bustled, buttoned up, in those quiet moments whenever you are like in between things. We are there with you the whole entire day. So making sure you have that chemistry, you have that rapport, and you're going to be a good fit is just so important. So I always like to make sure I get a chance to chat with my couples prior to booking, just to make sure that that chemistry is there.
Yeah.
And then once we go through and I know, what all they're looking for, typically we talk about, wedding day details, timeline, just working out, whether or not a first look's going to be best for them, what package is going to be customized to fit their needs for the day. And then at that point, normally the contract is signed and we move forward with everything. And I always offer my clients a series of, timeline meetings so they can touch base with me throughout the process because I've been doing this for so long as I have been.
Right.
I normally have a lot of insight on, what time frames are going to work best for things to make sure they accommodate everything that they want and get the photos that they want throughout the day. Right. So I am there at any point to work with them to make sure that everything flows as seamlessly as possible and that the day is relaxed and fun for them.
I think talking about chemistry is so important, and the fact that you're probably the only vendor with them the entire day, and the one that not only you're there through the highs and the lows and all the emotions, and you want somebody that you feel comfortable with during that process, but also it's a matter of being able to capture their spirit with the camera. Right? Sure. There's that connection between the subject and the person behind the lens. And when you feel comfortable, I mean, it's like deer in headlights for people. Sometimes when they get behind the camera and they're worried about how they look. And if the photographer can bring out in you and make you feel good and make you feel confident and give you that reassurance, like that speaks volumes of a talented photographer.
Most definitely.
And not just in a dictating way, do this, and, picture perfect and I'm moving all this. I mean, there's something to be said for staging, but it's that, to capture that inner spirit in someone, that's a connection. That's chemistry. Yeah. That's not something you can Photoshop.
No, definitely not. Like you really need to read each couple because each couple has their own unique way of showing love and showing joy. And so being able to see how they work together and to bring that emotion out in them is just so important on the wedding day. That's part of the reason why we always offer the mini engagement session with all of our packages is in part to get to know the couple a little bit better and to see how they photograph prior to the wedding day. And so getting to see how they interact in the engagement setting, which is a little bit more relaxed than the wedding day. And you have a little more time. It's a little more just, chill. You're just going out, somewhere and having a little bit of fun for a period of time, really helps me to see how the couples interact with each other. And so I can see if they are more playful, if they're more, sensual together. And then that's kind of how I then guide the session and guide where I place them in order to bring that out.
I love that. You do your homework.
Yes, most definitely.
And I want to talk a little bit about a lot of things that are happening in the industry right now. And it's sad because when the economy is strained, historically through the years, it'll have a tendency to bring out more people that are disingenuous or even scamming. Yes. I mean, every day I get a call on my phone. It's probably a scam or a text. We all do, right?
Constantly.
And I think as the economy is strained, the opportunity for this to happen becomes more relevant, and it requires that the couples be a little more due diligent in their vetting process. And so I have my own tips on that. What would your advice be to couples that are shopping and they're looking for photographers in Pittsburgh and, to assure that they're going to have a great experience? What are some?
I would say definitely reading reviews. Because that's normally a pretty good indicator, and how many reviews and over what period of time they are. So you know that they are, established and that they have been consistent for a period of time. I would say also looking through social media accounts, kind of going back through and seeing, if the quality of work has stayed the same, if that has changed or fluctuated at all, reading, people's comments on their posts, if anyone, commented anything that was like, I didn't receive this, or, any kind of red flag messages that pop up are definitely things to vet as well. And then just knowing who all is, on the team of photographers.
Very important.
If they are offering, multiple photographers, making sure that they are, established members of that group, not just random people that are getting hired. So I think that's very important to, ask whenever you're going through the process as well.
And I'm going to tip the hand on that just a little bit, because a lot of times photographers that maybe are not well established, that it's not their full-time business, might need a second shooter, and they might go to some random place like a Facebook group for photography and ask for photographers, but not really know that person that they're working with, or know their style, or have any history on them. I've even seen comments where I'm looking for someone with a mirrorless camera. That's all they're asking, right? So that, and also it comes back to, you want to have that same eye, that same fluidity when you're shooting. You have the same vision, the style of Laurel Mountain photography. And so, that's all encompassed in the artists that are working, right?
Yes. And it's also, having good rapport with the person you're working with means that what's getting captured when. So, if I'm at the front of the church getting the bride going down the aisle, I know that my second's going to be getting the shot from behind of all the guests staring at the bride, and then the groom looking at the bride. Where that person's going to be, and what they're going to capture, and you don't have to worry about making sure that they're in the right place at the right time, because you have worked together and you have that rapport, and what each other's tasks are on the day, so to speak. So it's really extremely helpful in making sure that every moment that you want to have captured on the wedding day is captured.
And it's a well-oiled machine, it sounds like, with your team.
Yep.
You've been around
yes,
for a while.
We've all been working together for quite a while. So,
and I had another thought as well about the vetting process. And do you ever have brides ask for you during the vetting process for referrals from previous couples?
I have had brides in the past that asked if they could speak with previous couples, and I'm always happy to send out that information and to let them get in touch and, talk about what their experience and what the process was. And I think that's, really beneficial to be open with brides in that regard as well. And just any, couples in general, that they know that they can have access to other people's experiences. So it's not just, what I'm telling them to be true. What other couples
salespeople.
What other couples are saying, this was my experience and this is why you should.
100%, because let's face it, with AI today, photographs can be created.
Yes. It's
and
crazy
be
how
like,
much can be done now.
There's so much. And with going back to the scam and the fraud and doing your due diligence and making sure, I do not know of one couple that had a successful experience with our brand, with us, that wouldn't say, yeah, have them email me. Like, they're not offended by that. They actually, brides that have a successful day, they want to share.
Yes.
They want to brag about it. They want to boast to the world.
Exactly.
Look at my pictures from my wedding. Very few. I've never run across an occasion where a bride didn't want to do that, especially if they had a great experience. And a photographer isn't just about the pictures. It is about the experience. It's about the experience from, doing the engagement photos and the booking process and getting to know you and then the day of. And, there's all these things that are happening. And let's face it, can be like a tornado of emotions.
Oh my gosh, most definitely.
So it's really important that you get to know who that person's going to be and who their second's going to be, and know like that you're all, vibing with each other and feeling each other. And it's not just a sight unseen. I need a photographer. This is my price,
this is who I'm going to go with.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about, I'm going to talk about contracts right now, because you had shared with me some of the points of your contract, that because you're a full-time business, that you're able to deliver galleries faster than most.
Yeah.
Why is that?
So I know industry standard at this point is about 4 to 6 months for galleries to be delivered. Since this is something I do full-time, our new packages now offer, we do sneak peeks within a week, and then the full gallery is posted within a month. And I mean, there's a part of that is like, I feel like brides don't want to be having to wait that long to see their photos. Like you're in the excitement of the day and you want to have that to share with everyone right after it happens. So, doing all the behind the scenes work and really, working hard to get those galleries edited and posted in a timely manner, I feel like brides really appreciate it. And like our couples are just so, excited to have all of that ready to share in that period of time.
And you've been paid.
Yes.
And that's the part, like with all the things that have happened of late, with some brides, unfortunately, not getting their video film from some photographers, and photographers taking their footage and going MIA and their money. There's a couple things on that. I just did an interview with an insurance agent, and I wanted to let you know this, that they can actually, when they book, they can buy insurance that will cover, like, let's say an SD card is corrupted or something like that, or a vendor's a no-show, that they can get reimbursed for those deposits. And I don't think a lot of brides know that, and it's super affordable. So I'm going to plug that video up for them to check out and the download on that, because if you don't know, you're talking a couple $100 for something that may be, 10,000.
And there's just like, you just never know what might happen. And I mean, and there's a lot of people I know. For us, whenever we chose to expand, we actually brought on my parents, because, I've had a lot of people ask, do you subcontract out to other photographers, or, we brought other people on? And part of the reason we haven't is that we want someone who is as invested in the business as we are, because it's a wedding day. It is a once in a lifetime moment. And it's not something that you're like, oh, I have the sniffles, I'm going to call off work today. It's not an option. And I think a lot of people don't comprehend the gravity of that, especially if it's not their own business. And so, we have our type team that we know we have each other's backs no matter what. And that is just so important for because
anything
you
can
run into
happen.
Situations where, like, maybe someone's car breaks down, or
somebody gets COVID,
yes, exactly,
the flu. They can't even stand up without getting sick.
So having that like built-in backup of the four of us being in the business, and only taking one wedding each weekend, we have automatic backups built in. So if something were to happen to one of us, there's two other people to step
So
in
smart.
and take that place.
So smart. And you have to operate like that. And essentially with my business, we do the same thing. Like we do casino themed parties for elite casino events, but we don't do more than 3 a weekend because I can handle one. My husband can handle one. Josh can handle one. We don't overextend. And we have people contact us all the time and they're like, I'm sorry, I can't do it because I risk the quality of the service that we offer if I overextend. And I would rather say no and let them find services elsewhere than say yes and
then something go wrong.
Yeah. And but I don't think that everybody has that business philosophy.
No.
I think a lot of people, it's just like, I want to take in as much money as possible. And maybe they're not as organized and as structured. And then they go, I'm overbooked. Like, I don't know what to do. And it creates some problems. We've had that across the board.
Yeah, I've seen that on the Pittsburgh photographer Facebook groups where, day of someone's looking for someone to replace them. And they're like, I can't get there and they don't have any, best backups in place. And so they're just trying to find anybody who will come in and cover that wedding. And it's hard to, watch to a certain extent because I feel so bad for the couples because then they're in a situation where they are just getting, someone else to step in and might not be getting the same, quality or the same style that they previously thought they were going to get. So it's definitely having a backup plan as a photographer is extremely important.
Yeah, you have to be prepared, belts and suspenders.
Yes.
Because it is the most important day of someone's life in unless they've had a child.
Yes.
I'm going to say that would probably trump that one. I do have a few other questions for you. I know that you specialize, you brought your art into the photography phase because you portray more of an artistic vibe. And I also, in my opinion, I think everything that you do is so romantic.
Oh, thank you. We do love capturing the romance for sure. That is, kind of one of the big things that we enjoy. And a lot of that speaks to our couples as well and the amount of vulnerability that they're willing to give us whenever we are coming through in the creative session. And, especially when we have just the two of them out and are getting those photos. And it's kind of a more intimate experience whenever it comes to that portion of the creative session and being able to elicit that romance and create moments that are, to a certain extent, posed but still natural. So a lot of it's about giving instruction for movement, not necessarily, go into this exact pose and hold this. It's creating a moment for them. So I have a lot of, couples who are very, nervous about getting their photos taken or say, could tell me I'm so uncomfortable in front of the camera. I'm going to need your help with posing and all of that.
Sure.
And, kind of breaking the ice and giving them interactions to create that intimacy without them feeling like awkward and staged.
Forced.
Yes. Is one of the ways that we capture that kind of emotion.
I love that. You try to take the burden from them.
Yes.
In a natural, organic way. Yes. And then that results in the beautiful photos that you have.
Yes. It gives them a more natural connection, not a, forced connection on the day.
Right. Like, what do they do at the stage shoots?
Yes.
Like you can tell a stage shoot. You just don't see that connection. Yeah. They stand out. And I love that you have an entire team so somebody has her backup if she's sick or her husband's sick and they have people that can step in. But I have noticed with everything happening of recently that I've not really seen a balance in the scales of a lot of photography contracts. It's pay me, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to show up on your wedding day, and I'm all paid in full, and then you have to wait, and I'm going to surrender the galleries to you when I'm ready.
Yes.
Or whenever my contract says 4 to 6 months or whatever that is. But there's no contingency for the couples if that doesn't happen. And I'm not saying that photographers won't deliver. I think the majority of them do, but I could get in the car and be in an accident on the way home and
have
be
everything get destroyed and just,
sitting on a shelf, sitting on a cloud somewhere. I don't have a family or a team behind me that knows what to do to take it in place. And I don't think that couples understand that they have the right to ask these questions, and they have the right to ask for an amendment to their contract to say, if my footage isn't delivered by whatever day that the photographer has given, what is the contingency in the event that it's not do I get my money back? Yes. Do I get my raw images? What are your thoughts on that?
So I know we have in our contract that if something were to happen, if we were to lose everything, then we do refund the couples their money, because that's just something that we personally feel like, is, something that's important, because if we can't deliver, if something happens, then they deserve to have that back, because that's a portion of their life that they expected to have captured that they're not going to get anymore. And that's not something you can really recreate. So we do have that in place. I think a lot of photographers get nervous about putting that in because they don't want to be in a situation where they have, already spent the money that they have been given, and then have to kind of find a way to return that to people. So I guess it's kind of a matter of how people are running their business, if they're actually running it as a business, or if they're running it as, a side hobby that they are just trying to make some extra cash off of.
But that should be a little bit of a flag too, because coming back to contracts should be balanced. They should be fair. There should be a contingency. If I pay you everything on my wedding day and you're paid in full and my galleries are supposed to be delivered by this date, what happens if you're in a car accident and you're in a coma? Like, what
is the backup plan?
What is the plan B? There has to be some type of contingency. You can't just say, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of it." I don't think that that's fair to the couples.
No, most definitely. And it should be transparent in the contract. So that should be something that is very open and honest with them, because none of us know, what might happen.
You never know.
Yeah. So no one's expecting anything to happen. But I know that we had during whenever COVID was, kind of past the lockdown phase, when we were back doing weddings, we had, my husband and I got COVID the one week, and then my parents got it the other week. And so we actually had to flip-flop weddings.
Yeah.
Because there was, it's like they were, we were down for the count. And I mean, we had that written into our contract that we have backups in place and that we will have you covered no matter what. But like, you run into situations with, even with like family events, like deaths in the family, that kind of thing, where you just kind of have to suck it up and go. There's really not a whole lot of an option there for kind of taking a step back from it. It's not a normal, 9 to 5, where if you call off of work for the day, it's not a big deal.
You don't get FMLA when you run your own business. Yeah.
So
you do what you need to do because you made a commitment and you made a promise to someone on what is essentially the most important day of their life. And it's your responsibility to, do what you say what you mean, follow up, follow through, all of those things. Unfortunately, again, I'm going to circle back. Not everyone has that mindset. And I think, that's part of getting the know you process and having those Zoom calls. I recommend all brides, if you are booking somebody that's spending more than 10 hours with you on your wedding day, your photographer, you should be doing a face-to-face cup of coffee, a Zoom call. Get to know them. Get to know that you're vibing with each other. It works for you too. It goes back to that chemistry thing that we were talking about. It's really important that you feel comfortable with each other. You're going to be with each other in the most intimate of moments, the most important moments. Like, you want to have that feeling of comfort with them, but you also want to know like that they have your back, even when they can't have your back. Like, if something unfortunately would happen, you had COVID and you couldn't make it, like, you need to know. I'll give you our example of this. My husband and I, our manager was on vacation. We had an event that we had to do, and the same day was his father's funeral. So we went to the mass, we went to the funeral. We looked at our watch, it's 3:00. We're at the repast, and we stood up and we hugged everyone. We're like, we have to go. It's Saturday.
I had my grandfather's funeral and I had to go to a wedding, I literally left the mass and went straight to a wedding and put on happy face. And then my grandmother passed away a few months ago, and I had back-to-back weddings that like the day after and the day after that. And it's just like, okay, like you're gonna kind of process it and get through it. But it speaks to your level of professionalism as well. That it's that, you still got there, you got it done. And
you made a commitment to someone and you're holding that above all else.
Yeah.
And, that's what good business people do. And that's why you've been in business for 20 years and why you have such a great reputation, because you always follow through and follow up. And I love the fact that you open up your previous brides for couples to be able to interview if they need to. And I think that's another really good, like you can read reviews and do a deep dive into them. But let's face it, like, they can be disingenuous too.
Yes.
You can send 20 people to the Knot to write a review for you, right?
Yes, you definitely could.
If you're a new photographer in town, like there's no prerequisite on who writes a review.
There's no real vetting. Like you just say, yes, I use this person and that's it.
Right.
So yes, being able to speak to actual brides and having that connection is definitely a bonus to be able to
helps the couples. Yeah, because you can ask questions about the experience overall, because you can see the work in the photos, but you can ask about how was it to work with you? How was it to work with your mother or whoever the other shooters were? And I think that's invaluable. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the most important thing that you take with you from the wedding is photos, footage, video. Yes. Do you do both?
We just do photography.
You just do photography. Do you have videographers that you recommend?
Yeah, there's been a couple that quite a few people we've worked with
that you work
with.
Yeah,
and
because there's not as many of them as there are photographers. It seems like that's a smaller niche.
Yes.
And we have some talented ones in our group that are, have really strong business ethics and integrity. And, in a world that we're in today with AI and everything happening, I was like, you just have to kind of put on your due diligence cap and say, I'm going to do my very best. And then check into the insurance thing, because that's kind of like making a bet.
Yes.
On if something would go wrong, and kind of back you up. So at least you're not out that money. Let's talk about money.
Yes.
Because I see photography all over the
It is. There's definitely a very, very large range.
I saw a photographer post in one of the groups, $500 all day service. And I just was like, what? Like that really threw me for a loop. And I was like, and people were responding to it. And I'm like, remember, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. And whenever you're breaking that down, I think a lot of people too, whenever they're starting off, they don't realize just how much goes into it on the back end to make the wedding gallery beautiful and to go through and edit all those proofs. So they're looking at, all right, I'm getting paid $500 for the day, which, isn't terrible if that's all it is the day and you're not doing anything else. But there's so much on the back end, so much behind the scenes work that goes into it that they don't often take into account. And I feel like a lot of times that does a disservice to other wedding photographers who are established and who are taking the time to make sure, everything is meticulously edited and presented for their couples, because it kind of, cheapens what we do to a certain extent.
Sure. And I had this conversation with the DJ as well. It's not just the day of, and it's not just the engagement session. How many emails do you have with any couple that you've booked?
Quite a few. It's normally, there's normally a lot of back and forth with emails. There's normally multiple phone calls or Zoom meetings discussing, timelines, different photo locations, the feel of the photos and any specific,
making the list of all the shots that they want, of all the family members' names that you need to know their names so that you can address them by name. Like it's not, I'm going to come back and I keep saying this, it's not just that day.
Show up on the day and that's it.
It's and people, and I think that people that book like that say $500 for the day are thinking like an employee. I'm sorry. They're thinking like an employee, not like a business owner.
Yes.
Because a business owner has all these other expenses of having somebody to assist you if your husband does editing or your parents help you with that, or you have insurance that you have to cover. You have travel that you have to cover. I know you go all over the place.
Yeah.
I've seen photos from everywhere. Like you're not, you're not in a box that says, oh, well, if I'm making $50 an hour and I'm there for 10 hours, good.
Great. Yep.
If you're an employee and you're thinking like an employee, that's okay. But you don't understand the whole, what encompasses delivering those galleries, quality galleries on time, prompt, as promised, as delivered, getting that, vibe with that couple, getting to know them takes time.
For sure.
That's part of your workflow of what you're getting to do.
Yes.
Right? Like that's not just coming naturally, right?
It definitely doesn't. You definitely have to put an effort into that and, connect with them and be comfortable with them and have it be so that they know that they can come to you if there's any problems, any questions, any issues, that they feel comfortable with that back and forth.
Yeah.
And so it takes, effort to.
Yeah. Do you kind of become the priest on the day of the wedding?
No. It's always funny. I've noticed the last few years, I've had so many bridal parties thank me for not yelling at them during the creative shoot. And they said they've been at weddings where like they're getting yelled at by the photographers.
Yeah.
And I always view it like, okay, so everyone's there to have fun and have a good time.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you are dealing with people who are intoxicated, people who aren't necessarily cooperating, but they're having a good time. And the best way to get them to cooperate is to make it a good time.
Yeah.
So like if you want to bring them in, you want them to cooperate, you make it as much fun as possible. And you get those, bridal party photos all done first so that they, can get those in and they can go back to the partying and just have a good time with it. But I'm always, it's, if you want people to follow you in that situation, you need to be fun and engaging, not be angry with them over that they're having a good time. That
you're wasting my time.
Yes, exactly.
Chop. Time is money.
It's like, it's just you have to plan to the day. And I want the day to be a fun experience for my couples. I don't want them to be stressed out because, something, someone isn't cooperating or something, someone's not doing exactly what I need them to be doing in that moment. Like I want them to not have to worry about any of that. I want them to just be able to relax and have fun and enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
So that is, something that I always come into the day with that mindset of, I'm going to make this as fun as possible for everyone involved. And, I'm there during the reception on the edge of the dance floor, like shooting, but also dancing behind my camera. Like I love what I do. It's a ton of fun. And, I'm there to not only capture the day, but to participate in the excitement and the joy and the love and, make sure that that is all
part of
captured naturally.
It's all part of it. Mm-hmm. Do you have a go-to to capture someone's attention?
Go-to to capture someone's attention.
I say that.
So typically with the bridal party, I've noticed that if I give them, kind of a time frame of how long these pictures are going to take, then they are much more apt to pay attention for that time.
Okay.
If it's an undefined, who knows how long this is going to be going on for. If I'm here and I'm like, listen, I need 10 minutes of photos from you guys. We're going to get these all done right now here. Yeah. And then you guys, the bridal party, are free to go. Like you get to go back on the bus and party. They are on it. So typically, if you give them that incentive, then
that's a really good strategy.
Very into getting it done and cooperating so that they can get back to doing what they want to be doing.
Not to give away any of your trade secrets. Give me your top 3 favorite places to photograph in our area. What are the ones that you get really excited and you're like, we got this wedding?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, there are just so many gorgeous venues. Are you talking about in Pittsburgh or just like around the area?
I say in Pittsburgh and around the area in general. Just what when a bride says they're getting married there, you're like, yes, I'm so excited.
I mean, Heinz Chapel is always breathtaking. Right. And you have so many great spots for photos, all within a very short walking distance of there. So that is always a fan favorite because you have the Cathedral Lawn, you have Mellon Institute across the street.
Sure.
And so and there's so many different like cool lighting things that you can do in Heinz Chapel. Okay. So I always love being able to go there and kind of get creative and
Heinz Chapel,
have fun
that's
with that.
one.
Yes. Oak Lodge is probably one of my favorite venues as well. And we've been we've known Matt who runs things up there for years and, we have very good rapport with that. them, and the grounds are just stunning.
It's sad. And they have the little chapel there that's like a log cabin chapel.
Yeah.
And then they have the reception. We brought the camper photo booth out there.
So cute.
Oh my goodness. And he's just the sweetest guy too.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun working up there, and you always know that like everything's going to be amazing, the food's going to be amazing, that they are running a tight ship, that they keep everyone on schedule, which is wonderful.
Well kept.
Yes.
A lot of times some of those rustic spots are not as well kept.
Yes.
And they're meticulous.
And they have like some nice different areas for photos and everything, which is great. And I have to say probably Nemacolin is another favorite of mine. It's
old world.
Yes.
Vibe.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And once again, it's just the staff there. They are amazing. And there are so many beautiful spots on the property for photos, and which makes it wonderful for us. And, they kind of, escort everyone around so we know everyone's all together. And, they are willing to take them to all the different spots that we want on property. And there's a lot of flexibility there. So it's always
See, I got the inside scoop from Anastasia on her top 3. How many? So you only do one wedding a week?
So we will only do one per day. So
one per day.
Yes.
So you could do Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday.
Yes. Most of the time we try to keep it to one a weekend, just because depending on the scheduling and everything, we like to have, we normally will base if we'll take another one off of, how long the first one that's booked is. If it's on, if it's a 6-hour wedding, then, we'll take another one in the weekend. If it's, a full day and we know we're going to be there from, like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., then typically we don't want anything on either end of that, just so that we have, enough time to recoup and recover and get all the photos taken care of. But I mean, we typically do about 20 to 30 weddings a year now. So.
Okay. And your price point starts at $3,500?
Correct. And that's for 2 photographers.
Yeah.
We do
wow, that's a great price.
We do have custom packages with single photographers for, smaller weddings and stuff that will go lower than that at times. But our standard is that you get the 2 photographers, it starts at 6 hours of coverage. You get a mini engagement shoot. It's kind of like a getting to know you session. And you get all the timeline planning, you get the full editing and effects, you get a, gallery print with that as well. So we kind of try to create a package that would include, everything that we would personally want to receive ourselves.
Yeah, I do that with our packages too. When I'm setting up our packages, I'm like, what would I want from my daughter? Like if it was her wedding, what are all the amenities that I would want for her, and where are those price points? Because I want to accommodate, everyone should have an option to have amazing photos for their wedding. And I think that, while with Pittsburgh Brides, I embrace bringing in new young talent because I think that's important.
Oh, most definitely.
Right?
Yes.
We have to pass the baton at some point. For sure. And we want to educate, and some of these videos will help them as well. We want to educate those new photographers to really, take some thought into what you're providing for your couples, and, make sure that those contracts are fair, that they're not only that you're giving them, the talent, the skills, you for the day, but also that you're ensuring them that they're going to have a great experience. Because I promise you one thing, if the economy stays where we're at, we're going to see more and more of these bad scenarios. And I really want you brides out there to be super aware that protect your investment. Make sure to get insurance. Make sure to vet your vendors. Ask for those emails, and don't ask for emails of somebody they did a wedding for 5 years ago.
Yes, ask for someone.
Give me some emails of weddings that you did this year. Like if you didn't do any weddings this year so far, that would be a little bit of a flag,
yes,
right?
Most definitely.
And
that one of the other things we've always done, this I pertained a little bit more whenever, pre-COVID, whenever most couples would meet in person. But anytime I would meet with a couple for the first time, I would always give them a copy of the contract to take home and look over.
It's a really good point.
Because you want to give them the time to read everything over, to make sure that they are clear on, everything that we have outlined in it, so that it's, fair on both sides. And I never wanted to push someone to, sign right there before they had a chance to look it over, because I want them to be comfortable with everything, and I want them to make sure they know what they're signing.
Yeah.
And so that I think a lot of people don't necessarily pay attention. And like, all the contracts are emailed now, so they have a chance to look it over and everything before signing. But, I always tell couples, make sure you take some time to read this over, make sure you know what you're putting your name on, and if you have any issues, because I've had couples who are more private in the past who have asked that I remove the clause about being able to post photos of them. And I am perfectly happy to accommodate that because, I want their privacy respected. If that's how they feel, I have no issues with that. But those are kinds of things that if you don't actually go through and read the contract, you might not realize are in there. And then all of a sudden your, photos are showing up online and you may not want that. And then you're in a point where there's nothing you can do about it.
That's a really good point, because I know, like, as an artist, and I have an IP attorney on retainer. Like, we've had through the years, and I won't get into why, but I have a very close relationship with him. And I was like, oh, these photographers, like, they've been paid. It's the wedding that the couple paid for. They paid them very well. And then the photographers are like, the images are ours. And I understand from an intellectual property standpoint that they are the photographers, but also the people, you have to have the rights of the people in the photo that you can use them for marketing purposes, social media, anything like that. And I don't think a lot of photographers realize that. They think that just because they took the photo,
that it's, they're open to doing whatever they want. And it's not.
And the same thing with the florist or, whomever's at the wedding pulling out their phone and taking pictures. Like, you don't just automatically have those rights. You have to have clear authority. Like, and that's why I know that you're on the cover of our Facebook page this month. And I always ask, and I'm like, please, I need to know I have permission. I'm never going to assume that. I'm always going to ask, even we're going to put some photos in here. Because it's yours. And please ask the couple and make sure that they're aware of it too. Because, the world is what it is today with AI, and so many bad things can happen from photos. So I understand that couples maybe want their privacy respected. I understand that. Or the privacy of the little ones at the wedding or the parents. And like, maybe they might say, you can use our images, but please don't blur out our guest or anyone there. I can understand that. My go-to when we were talking earlier about trying to get someone's attention because of the photo booth, we have, them all piled in the bridal party taking photos. And I'm always like, and there's always one, and she's like, not paying attention. I'm like, hey, you hot brunette.
That's great.
You're too gorgeous to not be looking at the camera. Nice. And it gets in there like, me? And I'm like, yeah, you.
Oh, they're like, oh, okay.
I'm sorry. But that's how I have fun with them, right? Because like, I want great photos when they're in the photo booth. I want them to have a great experience. And that means everybody needs to be looking at the camera, even if we're a little bit tipsy. So it's kind of the same thing.
Of course, I have to wonder what kind of photos have you ever had to like hide any or like not share? I was going to say, I'm sure you get some
inappropriate for sure.
I feel like back whenever the photo booths like were more enclosed, I felt like that happened much more because people would just assume that like no one else is going to see this, and like you realize they're all getting printed out for the bride and groom as well, right? Yes.
Yeah. And what I love about the camper, we just did a wedding in Johnstown, and we have this 1965 Shasta camper. My husband and I drove all the way to Maine to bring her back to Pittsburgh because she had a wider door. Most of those Shasta campers had a narrow door. This had a wider door, so we could get the mirror photo booth on side, which I love that mirror because it has the Canon camera. It doesn't need Wi-Fi to work, so it can work remote areas.
Because there's a lot of wedding venues that are pretty remote if you don't have good Wi-Fi.
So he was a retired kitchen designer. So I did all the curtains and the cushions, and he built everything out. It has a fireplace, air conditioning. It's absolutely incredible. And what I love about it is I had two brides that were married in Johnstown, and they both stepped on board to do their photos. And I was like, okay, the camper's all yours. And I closed the door. And I was like, just push start when you're ready to take a photo. And they loved it. They're in there for like 15 minutes and they came out. They were sorry, we were having a good time. And it's like, it's yours. That's what it's all about. And I was like, I promise I won't share any of those photos. They were having such a good time. So I know that you can find Anastasia on PittsburghBrides.com. You can also find her in our Facebook group. You're the only one with the name Anastasia in our group. Beautiful name. So it's easy to find her. She comments on the threads, and price points start at $3,500 going up to depends on the wedding.
Depends on the wedding.
Depends on the packages. But two shooters for $3,500, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and with your mini and the scope and the scale of the work that you do, you should go to Laurel Mountain Photography also and go check out her work. Check out, what's your Instagram?
It's at Laurel Mountain Photography.
Okay. Check out, because her photos are breathtaking and stunning. Yeah. They will stop you in your tracks. And especially if you want those really romantic, but yet, artistic, where you're really good at capturing everything that's around them, right? And creating a scene. Like, it's not just the couple, but you create like the whole, what is it, 1800 or is it 1920?
Like incorporate the whole, fine art backdrops, so to speak, into the day.
Okay, do me a favor. Do more horizontals for me, so that we can share more of them on our Facebook cover. And I thank you for your time today. I think we covered a lot. Is there anything that we missed?
I think we're good. Thank you so much for having me. It was so wonderful getting to chat with you.
You as well. Thank you for popping in.
Sure thing.
This is Dawn, and we're signing off from downtown Pittsburgh. We'll see you soon. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, a like if you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully you've learned something from it. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.